And
Okay.
welcome back to the Purple Pants Podcast, pit stop coverage of Amazing Race Season 37. Brooke and I are very sad, but super excited to talk to Mark. Mark, how are you feeling today?
Um, Happy and blue.
I get that. I'm blue with you because Brooke and I, we were rooting for you this season.
Thank you.
I really was. Honestly, I didn't know what to think at the beginning. And then we saw a little bit of, we haven't been out of the country and so on and so. I got to tell you, you pulled at my heartstrings. Real men can cry. Like the bond that you two seem to have together is just so lovely. I'm sure you've been asked a lot of questions today, so we'll try and keep it somewhat brief. But what did you find to be the hardest part about the leg of the Amazing Race? Was it jet lag? Was it the constant moving? Was it the language barriers? What did you think was something maybe you didn't expect to be so hard that was harder than you expected?
I think the control that the taxi cabs had was really tough, but I mean it was the same for every team. I'm sure if every team had a chance to talk about that, they would say that was very frustrating. You got 14 teams and you got 7 taxis out there ready. How does that work? Then as taxis are flying by left and right, you're trying to hail one and, you're going across the street, you're just going everywhere. And then when you do get a taxi cab, you got some of them that like to play the game and some of them are just hell bent. Hey, look, I'm supposed to go 45 and I'm going 45. And we got in one when we were going to the Buddha temple, and literally just one team after another was passing us in their taxis, and they're waving, and we're thumbs. We were just, but it was a fun for them. But that was and to see their taxis go plumb out of sight, and then there was another one because we was in taxis all day. There was another one where we got into a taxi probably towards the end, and this dude was taking back roads, and he was getting it up on 2 wheels. I mean, he was totally in, and we literally made time, and we passed other teams that didn't realize we were passing. So, it's a whole lot of ebb and flow there that's out of our control, 100%.
It was really great watching you, Larry, and Mark. Was there anything you wish you would have done more before going on to Amazing Race? Is it like watching more seasons, worked out, maybe took more taxis? Anything you wish you would have like done a little more before going on?
Um, you always look back. I would have had a water pouch. Um,
Really?
I was dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
We went from being all day in LA. We called a taxi or got to the airport and caught a plane at midnight, and then was on the plane for 14 hours.
Wow.
That was a great place to hydrate, but I was, I guess, too considerate. I had a little Hong Kongian on each side of me, 2 little people, children, and they didn't want to sit next to each other, so I was between them. I didn't want to wake them up to go get water. Um, they wouldn't, they weren't, they weren't coming by giving us water, and I dehydrated. Um,
Oh my goodness.
it was unfortunate, but other teams did. And you look over and I see Josiah. He's got a water pack on, so he's got his own water. He's set.
Meanwhile, I would not run with any extra weight, period, no matter if it helped me or if it didn't help me. Um, Hi, Larry. I think you're on here too. Nice to get to meet you sort of face to
Hello.
face. Pop on when you can. Um, how far behind were you guys at the end? It seemed like sometimes the editing makes it so that it looks like things are close when they aren't, but it
Yep,
seemed like
yep, you're
the
right.
teams
It
were
always
actually
does. But
quite close this time.
so if literally the black team, the yellow team, and us finished a minute in a 1 minute span. And if you watch the show again, if you watch, while the yellow team is still on the mat and Phil saying, "Hey, you're the 6th team to step on the mat," we're standing behind them waiting.
Dang.
It was like boom, boom, boom. We could literally, when we got out of the cab, we could literally see the other teams ahead of us.
Wow.
So yeah, and I agree. It looks like on all the other seasons, it looks like the way they show the screens, and they show one getting out of a cab and one of them running around a bush, and it looks like they're right there together, even though they aren't. But we really were.
I mean, having done a season, you notice, you go when you watch your own, you'll say, oh,
Yeah.
that's not as close as it was, or this is not exactly how it happened. But they have to keep it interesting.
Right.
Speaking of, did Mark and Larry, did you guys watch a lot of seasons? Were you big fans of the race before you came on, or how did you end up on the show?
Yeah, so I was the super fan. I was, and told Larry about all the. So I talked him into getting on it with me. I had to find an old friend because the young people, they can't take off work. So once he committed to do this with me, he went back and just binge watched everything, and then we could talk about the characters and the goods and the bads and the do's and the don'ts, and you come up with your own strategy. Then he says, 3, 2, 1, let's go, and then you forget everything that you planned and you just go.
Mark and Larry, did you guys, when you were rewatching, did you happen to watch season 29 of Amazing Race?
Yes.
What'd you think of that season?
Was
Well,
that Mark and Bob?
See, yeah, be honest. What did you think of that?
Was that Mark and Bob? No, that wasn't Mark and Bob.
No, that was Brooke.
That's Brooke and Scott. That is
Brooke
the
and
stranger,
Scott.
the stranger
Yes.
season.
Okay.
Be
Oh,
nice
that's
about
when y'all
what you
swapped.
say next.
So, yeah, that's the season where they put strangers together, and they literally, I was in the running with my brother-in-law and being on that, and they said, no, we're pitting strangers together, so we didn't make it. So kudos to you, Brooke.
I could have met you 7 years ago or something like that.
Could have.
But
Could
now
have.
it's good now. Did you want to talk about the families and everything, Brice? And then
Well, I did, Mark. My dad has a very similar ringtone to you. So hearing my darling wife, I was looking around like, is my dad here? What did your family think of seeing you two on Amazing Race? Was it fun to watch in this experience and the rollout of all of the press and the images coming out? What is that like to share with your families?
So our wives are friends. So they were, they communicated, and they're used to us. First off, being on the fire department, we're always overnight at the fire station because we work 24-hour shifts. They're comfortable with being at home by themselves. They're used to us going on all these crazy wild hair trips that we go on together. So they were comfortable with it, totally supportive. The watch party we had last night, we got to see. I didn't get to watch the show because I was busy bouncing, talking to everybody that was there. Fantastic reunion for us, for Larry and myself and all of our old friends that.
Yeah, we probably had over 60 of our old friends show up.
Wow.
So it was
Larry?
a pretty good watch party.
Hey, Larry.
Hey.
Turn on your camera so we can see your mug.
Does that start video?
No. Oh, and we're very, very up to date on all our digital stuff.
on the lower left of your screen, there should be a little
can you see
camera
me
that has a
now?
line through it.
There's a little camera in the bottom left. There's a little camera with a line through it.
Yeah. I touched that.
All right, touch your nose to the camera.
Hey.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry.
Hey,
there
how
we
y'all?
go. Hi.
This is my lab.
Who is that?
This is Jesse Jane.
Hi,
Jesse
Jesse.
Jane.
That's so
Yeah.
cute. Oh my God, look at him. Mine's sleeping in the others. He never sleeps. He's usually on the podcast. So we're doing a little something different this season. I wanted to do something I'm calling the Purple Pants Pit Stop +1, because I'm sure you guys have answered 6 gazillion questions in the past 24 hours. I'm sure there are things that maybe you wanted to talk about that you weren't asked, or when I did this, there were so many things I wanted to say, but it wasn't the question on the table. So I wanted to turn it over to both of you. Is there anything that you haven't been asked that you want to share, or that they didn't show that you wish they would have shown, or that you just generally want the Amazing Race world, the whole world, let's call it the whole world who's going to see this, to know about Mark and to know about Larry?
Huh?
No.
Okay. So,
Success. Okay, cool.
okay, so I will share behind the scenes stuff. Larry had a little man crush on some of the security guys. He thought they were really cool.
I know those
Hey.
security guys. That makes sense.
You understand, don't you? Those guys are bad. Those
Yeah.
dudes are bad.
And
They could kill you with 2 fingers. That's
right.
Yeah,
And,
no doubt.
and you want them to like you, so you do what you got to do.
Yeah, our goal was to make them laugh every day. Yeah, they were kind of.
They don't. Not only do they
giggling.
not laugh, they don't smile.
Yeah.
So you get them to smile, you've done something.
There was someone on my season whose goal it was to make one of them smile once.
There you
And
go.
on leg 11, he did it. And he's like, I can go home. I don't need to be part of this anymore. My job here is done.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
and then he did go home. So I don't think that's what he wanted, but
yeah. Well, you know, they're paramedics and everything, and they know Mark and I, since we're in the, fire department, they knew if something went down, we could help them. And I think they appreciate us because they're top-notch men. I'm telling you, they're sharp. I'd rather have one of them as my partner, probably, They
no offense, Mark.
No,
how's your relationship now? How is the race affected?
It's as strong as ever. If you can't pick on your buddies, who can you pick at?
That's right.
Absolutely.
I say that
If Phil were to call you today, we know season 40 of Amazing Race is around the corner, and there's speculation that it could be a lot of different things. But Phil picks up the phone and says, Mark and Larry, we need you for season 40. Are you packing your bags?
You already know he called us, don't you?
Yeah. They said they weren't going to tell anybody. Yeah. No. First team out edition. So.
Yeah, we want to pick who we're going against, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all?
I want fat people and, maybe got bad limps. I don't want these people in shape, Those guys unbelievable that they picked this year.
They would pick me. That's fine. It seemed like everyone was getting along really well. I assume it's hard, I think, what you had to do, because going east to the Far East first is a much longer flight. Usually it'll start going either south or to Europe, and you have a much, 4, 6, even 8-hour flight to start. But you guys were saying you had a 14-hour flight off the bat. I'm sure it gave you time to get to know all of the other teams and to bond a bit. If there was one team that you were going to go get a beer with tomorrow, who's your favorite?
Oh my gosh.
I like Jeff and Pops.
I love how he just answered it. I like them too. We got to meet them.
And they'll probably be the fan favorites when it's all said and done. Great, genuine guys.
Side note, I have a Boston Terrier right in that room right there. So that's my favorite thing that's ever happened. Hi, sweet girl.
But we literally bonded with every team, had a connection with every team. Even though we got kicked out, even though we had the quarantine and we couldn't talk, we had a really, really good bond with every one of them. Loved Ernest and Bridget. Ernest is just a genuine guy. Mike and Nick so Mike and Nick, so you Brooke understands, you name all the people that you're interviewing against during the process. And we called them Hans and Franz because they auditioned for season 36 with us. And they put, and I don't know if they did it for y'all, but they put all of us in a room together for the day during the final interview before selection. And Hans and Franz or Mike and Nick were standing in the back the whole time. They were standing back there. But I mean, so we had a huge laugh about that. What are the odds that we both got on the same show?
Okay.
But honestly,
had me up next time.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Well, Larry, you live in a house I want to live in. I'm loving everything that's happening with the dogs. This has been so great to be able to speak with you both. Congratulations on getting to be on the show. You were wonderful to watch. The bond that you have and just the support that you had for one another the entire time was truly moving. I cry a lot. but that's not to say I wasn't moved, because I did cry when you guys went home. So we're sorry to see you go, and we hope to get to see you back another time. And this has been our coverage exit interview with Mark and Larry for the Purple Pants Pit Stop. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
Thank you,
for
Brice.
having us.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.